Welcome to Coach's Corner podcast by Well at Humana, where we talk all things health and fitness with an authentic, informative, and real-world lens. This year, we're personalizing the podcast a bit more with the people behind it. Each month, we'll introduce you to a new Exos fitness coach on our team, where we'll dive into their personal stories through fitness, specialties, passions, and more. Welcome to Coach's Corner podcast. We're excited to welcome Coach Mikah Goins to the podcast this month, diving a little bit deeper into her journey to fitness and what she enjoys doing outside of work. Welcome, Mikah.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Mikah's background before we pass it over to Ames for our rapid fire questions. Mikah is one of our fitness coaches here, and she trains clients one-on-one, performs health assessments, and instructs our group exercise classes. She received a Bachelor of Science in Health and Human Performance from the University of Louisville. And this one is pretty unique, a Bachelor of Arts in Spanish.
Yes.
We got our bilingual lady over here.
I am bilingual, yes.
So cool. She claims her specialty tends to be in general fitness with a special focus on balance and flexibility. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you.
Ames, kick us off.
All right. So, Mikah, we want to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
So, I'm going to ask you these rapid-fire questions. They're short. They're sweet. Quick. Don't overthink it. Just first thing, just tell me your answer.
Sweet. Let's do it.
Favorite exercise?
Ooh, kettlebell swings.
Do you prefer breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
Breakfast.
Sweet or salty?
Salty.
What's your favorite snack?
Ooh, I love crackers. Like
Okay,
a Ritz
crackers.
cracker, even though they're actually...
Just plain?
Like, yeah, plain Ritz cracker. Or if I have some cheese to go with it, like, yeah, they're good.
Like
cheese.
a charcuterie board, that's your thing?
Yeah, like, I love a charcuterie board.
Okay.
I love them, but I don't like the olives because who really eats the olives?
Me.
Oh, no, I don't eat olives. They're nasty.
I'll eat your
Love an
olives.
olive.
All right. What's the last place you traveled?
Where is the last place I went? I went to Nashville. I got engaged.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
It's only half of our staff now that's getting married.
Literally, there's like been 3 of us.
Yeah, wild. What's your preferred way to relax?
Sleep.
Nice. That's a solid answer, you know?
Yeah.
Do you collect anything?
I have kept all of the movie tickets from when me and my fiance have gone to the movies. Like ever since we started dating, I have every single movie stub.
Are you going to do anything with it?
I think I'm gonna put them on like a little board or something and like
Yeah.
put it up in the house somewhere. Because as many times as we've gone to the movies in the last 6 years, there's a lot that I've collected
Aw.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be really cute. What's your favorite animal?
Ooh, I like a gazelle. They seem so like just majestic, like like
really
animal ballerinas.
Yeah.
They really are. What is your coffee order?
Ooh, I always get a large vanilla chai with oat milk and sugar-free vanilla.
Mountains or beach?
The beach.
Morning person or night owl?
I'm a morning person now.
Okay. What's one daily practice you swear by?
Drink some water. Get hydrated.
Water.
Yeah.
Nobody likes dehydrated people.
And then last thing, what's something you're looking forward to?
I'm going to Dominican Republic in a couple weeks. So
I
I'm really
was-
Oh,
excited.
shoot.
I was
okay.
going to say, she was talking about that on the way here. So
Yes. I have like less than a month, so I've been ready to go.
I've had like 3 friends go in the past like couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a popular. Well, Costco also has pretty good deals on
We
that.
actually booked it through Costco.
What?
Travel.
Really?
TM not sponsored.
Costco, get on over here.
But yes, we did book it through Costco Travel, and we
Okay.
saved a ton of money. And you
Okay.
get like a Costco gift card when you do that too. So
All right, everybody gonna be.
So-
Don't tell them that because I haven't been yet, and it's gonna be crowded now.
So like planes and everything booked.
yeah, it's
Okay.
like it's all in one. So you pay like that one price, and it's like your flight. We're staying in an all inclusive, and then it also gives you like an airport shuttle included in that
Oh,
too.
wow.
So yeah,
Nice.
it's a really good deal, and you get a Costco gift card.
Nice. We looked into that for our
Y'all don't do
honeymoon.
that yet though, because I want to go.
Yeah,
Before it gets crowded.
let
Let me
Ames-
go first.
Book it before this podcast comes out.
Literally. Might have to.
All right. Well, the more you know. So Mikah, to kick things off, we want to hear a little bit. We wanted you to take us back on your
Okay.
health journey. Tell us how it all started. How did you get into fitness, and where was that transition from kind of like athlete to coach?
So I used to play basketball. I think I started in like 6th grade. Yeah, like 6th grade I started, and then I played up until like sophomore year of high school. I tore my meniscus at basketball camp. So I had surgery on that. I kind of like just didn't really go back after that. I guess it was more like a fear thing, but I ended up doing like physical therapy. I went to a place called Ellis and Badenhausen in Louisville. They have they do like the Louisville sports teams, like all their orthopedics and stuff. So they have a really good reputation, and actually my like whole family has been there for one thing or another. So I just really liked that. But knowing about like the rehabilitative process and like how to strengthen your muscles into like that type of stuff was really interesting to me. So that's kind of how I got into this realm of like health and wellness.
Sure.
Yeah.
So then at what point did you decide like coaching is for me?
I think I really thought that more whenever I was going through like undergrad, because exercise science has so many things that it can like branch off to.
Yeah.
I definitely thought about like the sports aspect of it. Like a lot of people I went to school with, they do like athletic training.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do PA school, things like that. And I think just starting off with personal training, like you're able to get that one-on-one attention with someone, really work with them too. Also, right before I did this, I used to work at the hospital because I thought about that sort of rehabilitative aspect, but that was like a little bit of honestly, it was really sad. And I was kind of like, this isn't for me, so maybe I need to do something where I can see more progress with people and I'm not sad about it.
Yeah. You're seeing the flip side of it, like helping people make that change in their life.
Yeah, and I think at the hospital, I mean, people do make change, but
Sure.
a lot of times, especially if you're an outpatient, you're just kind of there. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. And at this hospital, what kind of people were you working with specifically?
So I was a rehab technician with pulmonary rehab. So these are people that have breathing issues. Honestly, a lot of them had COVID. And COVID just like really took a toll on them. They had COVID, they have chronic bronchitis, emphysema, any type of lung disorders that they have. So they come in for outpatient, they do their exercises, and a lot of them are like, they sound silly to us because we can move around, but it's like you sit in the chair and you stand up from the chair and you sit back down and you stand up, and they have to do that 3 sets of 10. And you think like, wow, like that sounds so simple, but like when you have a breathing problem, simple things like sitting and standing are a real chore. So that's kind of seeing like, I guess showed me like people really can take it down like to the basics, and you can build up from there.
Yeah. And like just I think general fitness, we take it all for granted because we are all active, but like we went to Europe recently and we walked so much. I think we got like 40,000 steps every day.
Yeah.
And like that is not doable for everyone.
No.
But if you live that active and like that style of life, those things are possible. So I think like that's super important just for everyday life.
Yeah.
Being able to travel and do all these things too. So Mikah, were there any influential people in your life, maybe someone at the orthopedics place that you were working at that kind of like shaped your early career?
I'd probably say my physical therapist that I work with the most, his name was Joey. I just remember him being like really kind. I remember that he was always like very helpful, and I think just because I remember him out of everyone that I work with, I was like, okay, this is like a really nice person. He was always very patient too, which I think goes a long way in what we do. So not just like how he was towards me and other patients, but how his characteristics were, I guess, and showing like this is how you are when you're working one-on-one with someone who is working towards something.
Yeah.
Good characteristics to have. Patience, things like that, especially when you're teaching someone something new. So I think that's probably my biggest inspiration. I did send you this video yesterday. I want to talk about this video. Maybe you can like put it on there or something.
Yes.
Long story short, listeners, this 82-year-old lady, she had someone break into her house and she beat him up, and she's a power lifter and she wins competitions, and she's 82 years old. So I also want to be like her. I forget her name. Her last name was
Willie Murphy.
Willie Murphy.
Yeah,
I think Willie Murphy. If you're out there, Willie, you go, girl.
If you're listening,
I want to be you, Willie.
It was crazy. The clip, like, shows her getting interviewed by a news person, cuts to B-roll of her like deadlifting and doing all this stuff in the weight room.
And this was not no like small weight. I mean, to be 82 and pulling like 175 is a serious accomplishment.
Yeah, for sure. I see all those memes and videos all the time, and I'm like, hopefully this is goals like for me when I'm 80 years old.
Yeah.
So Mikah has a reputation that all of her clients cry. Going back to Joey, in those, it's important to be patient, but it's also important to be patient when people are being vulnerable, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, tell us a little bit. How did you get this reputation, Mikah?
I honestly don't know. I think the first time wasn't even my fault. Honestly, it was not my fault.
Like she's not being mean to them. To make
I'm not like
you're just like she makes them cry.
She's in there cracking the whip,
beating them down.
No, this was the first time I ever did a behavior change challenge. It was weight loss challenge. And this lady, I'm not going to put her business out there, but she was just very vulnerable with me about the reasons why she had not been exercising. And it was very sad. And I think a lot of times when you are talking to people about why they do what they do or don't do what they want to do, and it causes them to like take a step and look at themselves and be like, oh man, this is actually like really difficult. I'm looking inward at myself, and this actually kind of sucks, and I don't like this, and they get overwhelmed and they start crying. But I think I asked them questions that kind of cause them to do that. My main question I say is like, what are your extrinsic motivators? So things like, I want bigger biceps and I want, big quads or whatever. Those are your physical motivators. But I say, okay, let's take away the physical. What's something that's going to help you keep you motivated, an intrinsic motivator? And people say, actually, like, I'm pre-diabetic. I just went to the doctor last week and they told me that I don't want to be diabetic, or I want to be around for my grandkids because, I don't want them to grow up without me. And they say things like that, and then they're like, oh man, I don't want to be pre-diabetic. They start crying.
Real.
So I think I just ask them questions that cause them to really look into themselves, and that's why they cry. It's not because I'm mean.
No, I think that's awesome. Just like finding a deeper meaning to why we're doing what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Is there any other questions that you ask in these consultations that's important, like in behavior change specifically?
I think I ask people a lot to tell me their schedule of the day. That's one of the bigger things I hear is, oh, well, I don't have time or whatever. And so I want to work with whatever schedule these people have and say, hey, like, what does your schedule look like? And for example, I had a lady tell me, she's like, oh, I have kids, they have practice. Like, I'm so busy. I don't even have time. Her specific thing was meal planning. She said, I don't have time to sit down and write out a meal plan. And I said, okay, well, I've played sports. My brother's played sports before. So I know my parents take me, they might sit there and watch me. So I'm assuming she probably did the same thing. So I said, well, do you take them and drop them off, or do you take them and you sit and wait? She said, well, I sit and wait. Okay. When you sit and wait, like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, I just kind of scroll on my phone or whatever. I'm like, so you could take that time to, open up your journal. You don't even have to bring a journal. Put in your notes app in your phone and type out, for breakfast, I'm going to have eggs and bacon.
Yes.
For lunch, I'm going to have this. And she's like, you're right. Like, I can do that. So I think it's structuring the time that you have. It may not be that you don't have the time. Maybe you really don't have the time, and that's, obviously up to you. But a lot of people have the time, and you just kind of have to structure it. So I always like to ask people their schedule and help them try to fit their healthy habits into their day.
I love that. Mm-hmm. So, I totally agree. Not having time is a main thing that clients will say. But what else are you noticing with your clients of, like, maybe challenges or obstacles that they face when training or making time for it?
Definitely accountability. I think that's why a lot of people sign up for personal training, is because they have tried to do it on their own and they can't get up and do it, or they just can't find the will or whatever. So having a person that's waiting on you, you've scheduled things with them, you're paying for it, like that makes you more accountable. But also going back to what I said earlier, like their motivations, when I say like, what's motivating you to come here? Mm-hmm. Again, like extrinsic motivators, building muscle, losing fat, whatever. Those are physical things. People get used to how they look. Even if they are unhappy with how they look, they're like, I look like this. This is what it is. I'm used to it. But again, if you say like I'm pre-diabetic or I have high blood pressure, those are kind of like scary things that kind of put the finality of whatever. I'm not trying to get philosophical here, but they kind of put it in perspective. So their accountability issues, I think, helps with personal training because that person's there, but then you're also motivated and you're constantly in that headspace of being motivated. I think for us, like we all work at a gym, we work in health and fitness, we talk about the gym and exercise all the time, so it's easy for us to stay in that headspace. Other people are not. They're talking about like finance and spreadsheets all day. You're not thinking about exercise. You're like, you have a million blocks like in your brain. So when you are accountable with that personal trainer, it's not just showing up, it's in that headspace too of like, now I'm motivated because I'm showing up for this person and she's talking to me every single time we meet, even if it's just once a week or once a month about, hey, where are we at with your healthy habits?
Yeah. It's 1 hour dedicated to that.
Even being in the industry, though, do you find like yourself on your journey, do you ever have any challenges or obstacles with things?
I definitely do because I struggle sometimes by myself too. Like mine, I just don't want to go.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to the gym. I want to go home and go to sleep. If it's like a day where gym opens at 5:30, that means I had to wake up at like 4:45 in the morning. I don't want to go to the gym when I leave. I want to go home and go to bed.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do, and that's okay. I think a lot of times people think that their growth is like, oh, like I'm doing this and it has to be a certain way, and if I mess up, then that's it. It's over. It kind of makes me think of like, oh, I cut my finger. Like I have a little paper cut. Now I have to cut my whole finger off. It's like, that's really dramatic. Like just because you messed up one time does not mean that your progress is over. Your journey is over. So I think I've gotten better with giving myself grace with that and just saying like, if it's just a day I'm just not there, it just ain't gonna happen and I'll get back to it. And that's it.
And sometimes you have to listen to your body in those days. You said something yesterday that I really loved. You said like consistency. We talked about, how that's a challenge for you sometimes, but then you said, I know I'm always consistently getting back on track.
Yes.
So like the majority of the time, sure, you have those days where you don't want to do it, but majority of the time you are there showing up, and that's what matters.
Yeah, I think that's always what's going to be like the thing that is going to keep you going. I always hear in our behavior change challenges, specifically the one that we do like around the holidays, people say like, oh, well, this is a hard challenge to do on the holidays because, we're eating so much. And I'm like, okay, well, yes, you're eating so much, but all the other months of the year, even if you're not eating, stuff is going on in your life.
Sure.
Someone's getting married, your kids have practice, people get divorced, you get fired from your job, you get a new job, like stuff is always happening. And so saying like, oh, this is like not a good time, this is not a good time.
There's never a good time.
Yes, there's never a good time.
Never a good time.
I highly doubt there's ever a time in anyone's life where there's nothing going on and you're just chilling and everything's great. Like something's always going to go on. So going back to like, you got to fit it in where you can.
Yeah. That's something that like I talk about in like our upcoming program when I was making the presentations for that. And like, that's something that I say, like, there will never be a good time. Like so often you hear people like, oh, I'm going to wait until my kids are, this age or till they're out of the house or whatever. And then like pretty soon 16, 18 years have passed and you have that much ingrained bad habits. And it's like that time will pass anyway, whether or not you're doing one small thing every day to get better or to fall further in the hole. Like that time span will pass and there will literally never be a good time. So I love that you bring that up. Just any little thing that you can do to just, if you're not growing, you're sinking. You're whatever. You're falling back.
For sure.
Going back to our girl, Willie Murphy, 82 years old, deadlifting however much weight she had on that bar. You talk about balance and flexibility, but like, why is it so beneficial to continue moving and things as we age?
So I always give this example now to my clients. My fiance is a firefighter, and his firehouse is near like an elderly facility, like an old folks home. And the amount of times that they go there for medical runs because someone fell off the toilet, or they tried to stand up from the toilet and they fell over. And it's not funny. I don't know why we're laughing. It's not funny.
Sometimes you got to make
Yeah.
funny humor out of the negative.
I mean,
It
shoot,
is.
sometimes that happens to me. If you're there, I start going numb. Like, I get it. You really got to power through sometimes.
Okay, so his next run is going to be to pick Amy off the toilet.
He's just like, oh,
No,
this
I
girl
strength
Amy.
train. That's what I train for.
Okay.
He's like, this girl Amy on this run, she said she knows you. Like, she doesn't look very old. Why is she falling off the toilet? But yeah, I just think like, you don't want that to be you, right? Even if you are old, and people are like, oh, poor old people. I don't want to get rescued off the toilet at any age. Like, I don't care.
Sure.
And so it may not just be strength trains so you don't fall off the toilet when you get old. It may be like, so you don't trip off a curb and you're not able to catch yourself, so you break your knee or you break your hip or whatever. And we always move in this very much like forward, backward plane of motion, but we need to know how to move side to side or in other planes of motion so that we can actually catch ourselves when we need to. Like that, like Willie's lifting. I'm sure Willie's probably got all her joints together. She's probably got great bone density.
Yeah.
So
Osteoporosis. Who?
yeah, literally not Willie.
It's also so much about quality of life, though. Like, yeah, sure, you can live a long time, but like, you want to live a long time sitting in a wheelchair in a nursing home, or like, do you want to be out and like fully milk every ounce of life out of your life? Like, do you want to be out there doing things? And I don't want to just be sitting in a nursing home.
Heck no. Yeah. It's like my grandma. She cracks me up. I want to be consistent like my grandma. She's been going to jazzercise.
Love it.
5 or 6 days a week for longer than I've been alive. She has been doing this. And even if she like goes out of town, she'll come back and she goes like right back the next day. Like she just keeps right on it. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, you go. I'm not going to call her grandma because that'll make her upset. But she'd be like, yeah, I got to go. Like, I got to go to my jazzercise. I got to exercise. And she's like, and we do the tricep things with, to get behind the arm. She points all that out. So I'm like, okay, if my grandma's going to jazzercise consistently for over more than my lifetime, like, I can probably go too.
Yeah.
And you can too. Because my grandma goes.
Yeah, and she's like structured it to be part of her life, like her day. Mm-hmm. Kind of like how we talked about that of like you personally like structuring your day basically around your workout.
Yes.
Usually people are like, I gotta go to the grocery store today, and then I gotta pick up the kids from school. Like I just can't get a workout in. Mm-hmm. Whereas like we're thinking, I got to work out at 6 a.m. Yeah. How am I then going to pick up the kids? No, not really. But, like, that's how we're kind of, like, thinking about it. And I think that's your grandma's probably doing the same. Like, I got to go to jazzercise. Then I can go hang out with
It is, like, make sure it gets on the to-do list. Like, so many people, it's like, here's my to-do list, and then here's my extra things. If I have time, then, then I'll go or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But making sure it gets on the list as a priority.
Yeah.
And build around it.
I'll actually this like brings me back to writing my own workouts. Like, all right, like the main strength piece and then the Metcon or the high intensity piece that I'm going to do. And I'll always throw in there like optional if time, like some core work or something. Yeah. I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm going to tell you, I never get to that optional if time stuff. So I'm sure that's like the same for someone writing like optional if time workout. Like, you're not getting to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
That's funny. Anything else, like, Mikah, that you're, like, you talked about planes of motion. What else are you always incorporating into your clients' routines, specifically, like, core work? What kind of things?
Yeah, so I like to do core work for a few reasons. One, it's good just have core stability for the things you need in life. I think especially coming from pulmonary rehab, obviously your diaphragm is where you breathe from, not just your lungs, but you use all of that to breathe, and you need core strength for that. So also with that, your back health too. A lot of people have back problems. We live very sedentary lives. Mm-hmm.
I'm straightening up in my chair.
Straightens up, and I'm like, let me readjust here. But people, like, a lot of people have back problems. That's because we sit, like, our back is in this one position all day, or most of us, I mean, myself included, we have poor posture because we sit all day. So your core strength is tied to your back strength. So working on things like that are really important. I also like to do things like farmer's carries, dead bugs, things like that. Those are going to help strengthen them. And that doesn't mean like give you abs. I think people think like core.
This is
like
true.
Six pack
abs. It's like you can have a strong core and have no abs.
Yep.
That's a thing. Abs and core. Hear me. Abs and core are not the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Is there any clients that like stick out in your mind that like impacted your career?
I'll say she was my very first PT client I ever had. And I definitely had like a challenge for her to be my first person. I was like, wow, I really got my work cut out for me. She had a few concussions, and she was not able to even walk in a straight line. Like she was just kind of like a little wobbly. Okay. So we did do those farmer carries. You can do them with one kettlebell, like one arm or two arms. So we did both of those. And we had worked together for probably about like 6 months or so, maybe 6 months to a year maybe. And she really like got herself together, and she actually was able to walk in a straight line for a while. She got her diet together. She had lost a ton of weight while we were working together, so she did really well. And there's a client I have now who she has told me her goal is she wants tank top arms. Those are her words.
Love that.
She's going to Italy in September. So she's been doing tricep dips on her coffee table. And she went to a wedding recently, and she said she got so many compliments on her arms. And I said, see, those are those tank top arms you're looking for. But I think the other thing about the second person is that mentally she has really shown improvement. She had something traumatic happen to her the last time she was in a consistent routine. Yeah. And so because of that, for a while, I'm sure she associated exercise with that traumatic event. And for her to be accountable, she wanted to be motivated and come into the facility every single day and do her work. Or if she couldn't come into the facility, she can do stuff at home, like her tricep dips or walk up the stairs. Just having that mental fortitude to say, like, that thing happened to me. I associated that with exercise, but that doesn't have to define my exercise journey forever. I think my first person was more like physical improvements, and this girl was definitely like mental fortitude. She has showed up for herself every single day.
That's awesome that she like recognized the importance of exercise and movement to take that time to work through those things, to get back to it. And I think also just in general, like exercise and movement and consistent routine is good for like mental health in like boosting your confidence and endorphins and just overall like it's so much more than just the body too.
We did a partnership with Lou today and like wrote a piece exactly on that. It was like the byproducts of working out, that it's like, sure, you get tank top arms and, you know, some killer abs or whatever your maybe goals are, but like you get a community of people that are thinking the same thing as you. You get increased self-esteem and confidence and just like structure in your day. I think there's like so many more benefits to being part of a gym community than meets the eye.
I'm so much more productive when I work out in the morning too.
Yes.
Like it's like my day doesn't begin until that's happened. And if I don't work out, I'm just kind of like, I feel like I'm just like slothing around for a while.
Yes.
Like I never really like wake up or turn the switch on or anything, but like I can tell a huge difference.
Oh yeah. Yesterday I was literally nodding off. Like, I don't know why I've been so tired. And then I worked out at 5 p.m. and like, I swear it was like, oh, my off and on switch was clicked because I was like wide awake after that. So yeah.
Well, I also think it's like, I really like to think of it as like a checkbox that I've checked off on my day too. But I also know, even on the days when I was like, no, I don't want to go, I've never gone to the gym and said, dang, I wish I didn't go. Like after I leave, I'm always like, I'm so glad I went. Like, no, I didn't want to get up, but I'm glad I went. Yeah. Now I've accomplished something today. Even if I went to the gym and I came home and sat on the couch all day, I did something. Yeah. So,
Agreed.
What, beyond going to the gym, Mikah, are there any other healthy habits that you like to incorporate in your day?
Always start your day with water, for sure.
I need to be better about that.
I was going to say I did not practice that today.
Well, I think I always say that because people tell me when we do our consults, I ask them what they eat, and they say a lot of times they have coffee. Like, that's the first thing that they have. And I'm not saying you cannot have coffee. I don't want anybody to hurt me because I'm saying I can't have coffee no more.
Those vanilla chai lattes.
But start your day with water. Like, when you sleep, your body temperature, like, you might get hot in your sleep. You might sweat in your sleep. So now you've lost some electrolytes. Drink some water so you can get hydrated after you've been a little dehydrated throughout the day. Then you can start with your coffee or whatever else you decide to drink. So that's definitely one. I say another one that I like to do is having vegetables and try to do it in every single meal. So whether that's like spinach and my eggs for breakfast, I like to do broccoli for lunch or dinner, asparagus, like sweet potatoes. I love doing sweet potatoes. It's like my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Haley's like giving
Got
me a little
sweet
heart
potato
hand
over here.
No, when Haley does it, it literally smells like just the cinnamon on there.
I think it smells like maple oatmeal or
it
something.
smells like a little cinnamon
Love
roll.
me some maple too.
I don't know like what
cobbler
you do
or
on there.
something.
Drop
Honestly,
the recipe.
Yeah, well, the recipe is literally just put some olive oil on them and then douse it in cinnamon, and then there you go.
Sounds good.
Put them in the air fryer.
Next episode is Haley's Kitchen.
This has been a dream of mine since I was little, is to literally open a restaurant that only has food that I love.
I thought you were going to say only has sweet potatoes. All the
That'd be cool.
forms. Every form imaginable.
No, like, and it's not even like, it's not for you all. Like, it's for
It's
me.
just for me. It's just my restaurant.
Yeah.
You all can eat here if you want, but I really don't care.
Yeah, on the menu is sweet potatoes, yogurt parfait, pizza, my kale salads,
Sounds so good.
I'll eat there.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll
that sounds
support.
great.
Put it on my Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Dateless delivery at Haley's Cafe. Oh my goodness. So Mikah, being a coach and then also prioritizing your own healthy life, that can come with some challenges, right? Because you always have to put your clients first. So if you have a full day of packed clients and then you've got something going on after, you know, your workout may suffer from that. How do you balance the two?
Kind of going back to what we said earlier, I really do like structure my day around it. I like to look at my calendar like the day before or the night before.
Yeah.
So like, for example, today's Tuesday. Tuesdays I always work 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Like, that's my work schedule. I know for a fact I'm not going to the gym at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's either going to be really packed or I'm just going to be tired from work. So I'm not going. But I know, like, I have time in the morning to go before 10 a.m. So today I got to the gym like a little before 6. I did my whole workout. Today was back day. And then I came home, I showered, I made breakfast, watched a little TV. So I just know that that's like a piece of my day that I don't have to worry about. Like, I've checked that off my list. I know that now I've got that done, and then I can get on with whatever else I have to do today. So
Yeah.
I think my clients don't necessarily impact whatever else I have to do, because I also know that I have set that boundary too. Like, it would be really easy for me to just, my client says like, oh, I want to come in at 6 a.m. on Tuesday. Well, I'm not here, but I could easily say, well, like, they want to come, so I guess I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I think that would be going over my boundary that I've set for myself, and I need to say no. Like, this is my me time. I need to do this for me, for mental health, for physical health, all that stuff. So you set that boundary and kind of make that your time.
Yeah.
I think that's something else I see people do. They'll say like, oh, I was supposed to work out at this time, but like my boss put this meeting on my calendar, and you know, we don't normally have this, or they have a lunchtime meeting. Why are we having meetings at lunchtime? This is when you're supposed to eat. Just go eat your food.
Knock it off.
Literally, just go take a walk or something. Stop having lunchtime meetings.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you don't make it a priority for yourself, how can you expect anyone else to?
Yeah.
So the fact that you've like created that boundary for yourself, like my workout is important. Now other people can respect that and be like, cool, I won't ask Mikah to do that session in that time window. So.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you got the physical aspect down. Are there any like mindfulness practices or anything that you like to incorporate into your day?
Yeah, so I've definitely done like food journaling before, like on MyFitnessPal or LifeSum or one of those food apps. It just keeps me mindful and cautious of what I'm actually eating during the day. I think a lot of times it's very easy to just eat something and think, oh, like I had Smart Pop popcorn, like, so it's healthy because it says Smart Pop. And then you don't really like pay attention to what the label says. So when you're tracking your food and you're being mindful and cautious and you look at those numbers, you're like, oh, this is actually what I'm eating. Same thing, like this is always like my girl math moment that I always do. In my head, I'm like, if it says it has protein, it's healthy. Like, I don't care about any other macros, but you do have to care about all your macros. No, I swear, if I see it and it says like,
oh, protein,
it has 30 grams of protein, who cares if it has 1,000 milligrams of sodium? I don't care about that. It doesn't matter. But just kind of putting that in an app and keeping yourself accountable, I guess, can be really helpful. Looking at those numbers and seeing like, I've actually been eating 8 servings of this every single time I eat it. When the serving is 1 cup, I've been eating a whole bag. So that's definitely something that I like to do for sure.
I love that. It's like, it's not really something that like you'd have to necessarily do every day, just enough to check in and like, you know, oh, am I getting about the serving? Am I getting about the same amount of protein? I like that because sometimes I'll do that. I mean, like, if I could do it every day, that would be amazing, but I don't necessarily have the patience for that. But, once a week, I'll, like, track a day just to, like, make sure my portions are staying in check and, like, servings and, like, see where I'm at. Like, I eat pretty differently every day, but, like, generally, like, the same kind of stuff. So I just see, like, am I on target for protein or am I eating way over my whatever amount? So sometimes it's good to just have that check-in and be mindful of what and how much you're putting in.
Yeah. Also, I think another thing about checking your food too is that you're able to really check your progress as far as your exercise goes. I always give people, you know, that approximately 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, whatever. And a lot of people think that they're hitting that just because they're guessing like, oh, well, the label said 30 on this and the label said 5 grams per serving on this.
A piece of chicken, so
yeah, I should
cover.
be good, whatever. So then you're actually putting eyeballs on it, saying, "Oh, I'm not even close to." Well, no wonder I'm not even making any changes because I'm not even close. So just kind of keeping yourself accountable on that. I will say I've fallen off of that for a while because it is tedious. But I think my recommendation to anybody else that does this is, okay, let's say you decide you're going to meal prep and you're going to eat the same thing every single day for a week. All you got to do is put it in there one day. You don't need to put the same thing in the app every single day. That way you know, okay, my chicken is this many grams, this much protein, blah, 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 blah. Go on about your day. You don't have to see that app again for another week or 2 weeks or a month if you do it however often. So that's always my advice to people.
I think it's good for, like, performance reasons, too. If you're training for a big race or I do CrossFit competition, so I like to know, like, what food is going to sit right with me. If I'm logging it, then I can at least look back and say, like, oh, well, that day I had a really good day in the gym. Of course, there's, like, outside factors, but it helps you at least, like, know yourself a little bit more, too.
Yeah. Target the tummy troubles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those together.
The other app I wanted to mention, which I think I've mentioned it on another podcast, similar to MyFitnessPal, is just one that, like, you just take pictures of your food. So it's less about, like, the numbers and more about just taking a moment to, like, pause before you eat. Like, there's so many times when you're just in the pantry, grab whatever you see because you're so hungry. But this forces you to, like, hold on a second, let me get my phone out, let me take a picture, and just you're being more mindful of, like, everything you're putting in your body. So in our last few minutes, Mikah, our favorite question to ask people is what their soapbox moment is. So tell us, do you have something you're really passionate about?
Yes. You do not have to get ready to go to the gym. What I mean by that is people will tell me, especially people who have never gone to the gym before or they're very, very new to going to the gym, they'll say, like, oh, I can do, like, this, and this at home, and then I'll be ready to go to the gym. And I understand the gym can be a scary thing for some people, right? Like, the gym intimidation of it all, like but I think a lot of that is to blame from social media because let's say you've never been in the gym, all you see on social media is people that look like Chris Bumstead, like bodybuilders, super ripped type people, and you think everybody looks like that. First of all, a lot of those people, they probably go to like a very bodybuilder, like structured type of gym. they're not going to like Planet Fitness, Crunch, Lifetime, Anytime. They're probably not going to those type of gyms that we would be going to like as normal people. But also everybody looks different in the gym, and those people that are bodybuilders and they're ripped, they started from somewhere. They didn't just come out of the womb ripped. They had to go to the gym and do work. So don't think that just because you don't look like them, you're not ready to go to the gym. You can go anytime. Nobody's staring at you, even though you probably think they are, because I think people are staring at me and they're not. If they are, just ignore them because they are not important to you. They're not part of your journey. Yeah, so you don't have to get ready to go to the gym.
I love that. I thought that was really cool when you mentioned it yesterday. It's also like part of the gym culture. Like at Humana, we are very inclusive. Like we strive to create that welcoming environment. I think you may not find that at certain gyms, right? Like it's the community and the culture that you cultivate. So, luckily for our listeners, like you have a home that is welcoming and won't judge you in any way. But yeah, don't have to get ready. We accept you in any form.
Yeah, and not all gyms are the same too. Like if you go to one and like the vibes were off, try another one. It could be totally different vibes. And if the vibes are still off, come to Humana.
There you go.
Vibes are on.
We're always there.
And you can bring a friend on Tag Along Thursdays.
Hey.
Get you a free month when you bring a friend.
That's great advice for someone getting started. Do you have any final advice for someone that just needs to get started on their health and wellness journey?
I always recommend, if you feel like you struggle with the accountability, maybe financially it doesn't work well for you, bring a friend, be social, or maybe if you don't have a friend, do something with your family. Even if you can't get to the gym, you want your kids to go to bed, let them go outside and run around and take a walk while they're outside, or take a walk with your spouse after dinner. Do something like make it social. That actually reminds me now, I just thought of this. This was a person in one of our behavior change challenges, and I gave her the same idea, like be social about it. And she told me that she has a group of ladies. I believe they were like in their 60s, and she said they all live on the same street. Their street was called Heavenly Lane, and they call themselves the Heavenly Ladies. And they get together and they bring appetizers and they hang out. And I was like, I want to be a Heavenly Lady.
That is so cute.
But they made it social, and so the next time we talked to her, she was like, "Oh, we all brought like a healthy appetizer this time, and it was so fun." So she had fun. She was being social. She was being healthy. So I always like to give that little tidbit of information to people. Definitely,
I love that.
And Mikah offers personal training. So if you are ready to make that investment in yourself, call that girl today because she wants to work with you.
Call me. Hotline bling.
Thank you so much, Mikah, for being on our show today. It's been great to get to know you.
This is fun.
Yeah, next month you have Coach Andrew on the pod. So get ready for that. As always, thank you for listening, and we'll chat to you next month.
Thanks, y'all. See you next time.